Greetings and welcome to The Mic is Hot, one of Atlanta's hottest sports podcasts in the state of Georgia. I'm your host, DJ Thomas, where we talk sports around the ATL. So tell a friend to tell a friend that The Mic is hot right now. And without further ado, let me introduce you to my co-host for today's show. Yes, sir, ladies and gentlemen. The one and only, Mr. Big Time. Talk to me.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. I'm getting feedback a little bit, D. Cut down the feedback for me.
How about that?
Okay, great. Love it. Can you hear me real well?
I hear you excellent, man. I'm looking at my media.
Oh, yeah, I hear you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just so happy to be on the mic. What a beautiful evening, everybody. Oh, my goodness, what a beautiful evening. And it's such that, we got 2 more days. Oh, wait a minute, everybody.
No, 1 more day.
if I could be correct, we have less than 24 hours.
Less than 24
And not only do our beloved Falcons take the field in prime time, ladies and gentlemen, we begin the 2018-2019 NFL football season.
Are you happy?
Woo! Ladies and gentlemen,
how long have you been waiting on this, Big Time?
I've been waiting on this since February the 2nd of this year. It seems like it was over a year ago, but to be exact, it was only 6 months ago that we ended football, and here we are again. It just showed the love of the game is so great that we can't wait till it. We hate when it leaves and can't wait till it come back.
Can't wait, man. Can't wait. I'm telling you, I'm here to tell you, man. The game of football is just so big, especially here in Atlanta. All the atlanta-Falcons fans, we've been waiting for 2 years for this day to start over again. I mean, the grass has been cut and the field has been striped. So it's football time, folks. Just tomorrow night. Hey, what you got to say about that, Big Time?
Again, I'm so happy, man. I mean, I think, and we probably aren't the only ones that are very excited and happy, as this broadcast is stretched across so many forums. And I know the listening orders is as ecstatic as we are to have this show. It's for those who are listening to listen. And I want
to first of all, I want to shout out to all my military people out there that's listening to this podcast today. I know this, like I said, the broadcast is nationwide. We also just want to remind the listeners that you can be finding us on YouTube, TuneIn, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and also Facebook. That's 5 different ways you can actually listen to us. Tell a friend to tell a friend. If they're overseas, and look up The Mic is Hot. And we're going to update you each week on the scores and what's going on in the NFL, especially the Atlanta Falcons. So make sure you guys tell a friend to tell a friend. The Mic is Hot. Email us at themicishot, THEMIKEISHOT. And let us know what you like, what you don't like, and what you want to hear on the show, because this is the people's show, and it's all about you. Am I right, Big Time?
Yes, indeed. And let's kick it off.
Folks. Well, let's kick it off right. Let's say I know we don't have long tonight. We're going to do a little short version of the show, maybe 30 minutes or whatever. But I want to jump right back to last week. We had some technical difficulties. We did a show, but weren't able to actually put it out there right now because we don't have. We want to go over these numbers again. We always do a prediction show at the beginning of the season, and right now what I want to do is go back and show the prediction of what we look like and then what teams you like, and start off the season. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the first game of the season, it was you, myself, and Eric, I think, Arkansas Red. And I'm going to make sure I got your sheet with me. I think your prediction for the season was 12-4?
Either 12-4 or 11-5. I picked 4 wins. 4 losses. I know the 4 losses that I picked. I believe there may be one extra in there, but I want to go and make it official coming off the top that I look for big things at the Falcons this year. This is a year for me, ladies and gentlemen. This year is Super Bowl or bust. And when I said Super Bowl, not necessarily winning. I certainly wouldn't want us to get there and lose again, but we've got to get there for me to say that this Falcons team had a successful year. And with that high bar, I have to say 12-4, 11-5. It really doesn't matter what the record ends up to be. We are down for the Super Bowl. As everyone knows, the Super Bowl will be played in the great city of Atlanta, and we are further excited by that setting.
Okay, and that's one thing that I wanted to make sure remind everybody. Like I said again, every year we do a prediction right here, and it's very exciting. The city of Atlanta is a lot of things being done in the great city of Atlanta, Georgia. I know you guys are out of state or not going to be able to come here. I promise you we'll keep you up and let you know what's going on with the Super Bowl, the hypes. Going to be a little more stuff going on. We're going to be doing some interviews, and we're going to be downtown and probably do a few live broadcasts downtown, talking to the people of Atlanta. So want to make sure you guys are informed on what's going on with Atlanta Falcons and throughout the season this year. Eddie, let me ask this right quick, man. First thing first. The Falcons had we talked about this roughly earlier in the season about their preseason, and I was sort of disappointed in what I saw, and when we discussed some things that I saw that I didn't agree with. But let me get your opinion right now. How you feel about the preseason coming into the season? Because even though the first ball game is just I think it's tomorrow night, if I'm not mistaken. So how do you feel about the preseason coming to the season, and where you think it's going to put the Falcons?
Well, let me say this about the preseason. The preseason is just that, the preseason. Ladies and gentlemen, one thing you must know, if you have followed football over the last 5 or 6 years, the preseason have changed dramatically, and teams have changed in every capacity of how they prepare for the regular season. When you look at what the Falcons did, I like what I saw in the key parts of what I saw. And what I mean by that, we never had an opportunity, and many other teams did the same thing, to have seen the full squad. We just didn't do it. And with what I saw of the starters, again, all the starters played except two, Julio Jones and Freeman. Well, minus those two guys, I like what our starters did in the first series on both sides of the ball. So if I can break it down even further, I would. But I would just simply say the preseason gave me enough to believe that we're still good enough as a ball club to be ready for the season. And what are some high points? We didn't have major injuries. In fact, we had no injuries coming in tomorrow night's game. We have no key injuries. When you look at stepping up in key positions, we added players, particularly on the offensive side of the ball. Defense played well. So to answer your question, D, we had a good enough preseason to for me not to have any concern about what they're going to do tomorrow night.
Well, I mean, and you make a good point there, and but I'm still different. I mean, again, the coach says that preparation and conditioning is the number one thing a team has to have, and for preparation, not playing Julio and not playing Freeman, I think was not necessarily a good thing for the team. Conditioning wise, I don't think that the guys will be prepared. I mean, they're not ready to go at full strength. What I should say, even though as good as they are. Preseason is all about getting out there doing a dress rehearsal. Just like if you got to play, you put on all your makeup, you put on all your costume, and you go out there and you go do the show just like it was if it was the real thing. And that's the way I look at preseason. But we got two characters that did not show up in the play, so if they don't show up in the play when it's time to actually play the game, that's easily to have some of those flags we saw the first week. We can see a lot of those. And Freeman is a running back. But the new rule, one of the new rules about how lowering your head and targeting and all that kind of stuff, I think that could affect him. Again, I mean, I watch practice. I mean, some teams and most teams look good in practice because there's no pressure. Quarterback don't get hit. I mean, they're gonna make sure you throw the ball, but in the game, it's a whole different thing. And I have a little concern with it, and that's why. As much as I love the Atlanta Falcons, and I think they're going to have a great season, and I think they'll make the playoffs, and has a good chance to make it to the Super Bowl. But I think that they're not ready for this first ball game. They got to travel to Philly. What say you?
Well, I agree with you on one part of the preseason. I didn't agree with it, but we have to, in part, stand by our head coach. And what I mean is, I didn't agree with him not playing Julio and Freeman at least a couple of downs or series of plays. He chose to not play them, whatever reason that was. He never gave a clear and concise answer for it. I picked up in my listening to him, it was a concern for injuries, and that is nothing different than what most teams, almost 85 to 90% of the team, didn't play none of their major starters. And I told you earlier, there's a trend that's taking place in the NFL that teams are not playing their starters. Well, when you don't do that, you have to weigh injuries compared to conditioning and all the other stuff you mentioned. Well, if you weigh those two things compare those things to each other, you have to err on the side of caution, which is you can't let key guys get hurt.
Well, you can't.
You don't want key guys to get hurt.
I mean, I know you don't want them to get hurt, but you can't. I mean, injuries is something you can't predict. You can't say we can't keep this guy. We can't play him to keep him from getting hurt. I mean, if you don't play your best players out there, I mean, hey, you're not putting the best product on the field, and you get what you get. But
they were only going to run through a couple of plays, and I mean, I understand what you're saying. We agree that they, probably should have played. But however,
we'll find out tomorrow night. We'll find out tomorrow night.
We'll find out tomorrow night. And speaking of tomorrow night, I think the Falcons will come into this game and will perform at a level that is much better than Philadelphia. I believe that I believe that because of just what I said in the first series, in the first starter that did play in the preseason game, they moved the ball real well. The Falcons from 20 to 20. I like what the Falcons did in preseason. I don't know if they're gonna do it tomorrow night. They used Wrigley as a kickoff returner. Uh-huh. He was very exciting. He moved the ball in good field position, and as you know, most kickoff are now in the end zone, so the ball is placed on the 25-yard line.
Right.
Well, Falcons from 20 to 20, the 20-yard line of their own 20 to the other team's 20-yard line. I saw every game their starters moved the ball pretty well. Mm-hmm. There were game
they moved the ball well until they got to the 20, on their side.
Well, but at least we were in there. We were moving in there, and I think the Falcons may have been trying to withhold what they really wanted to show, even for his for his film for this game coming up. Well, not to show what they were going to do in that area.
I understand. I understand.
I like what I saw in there, and like I said, I don't want to bark on it. It's over, but here's the thing. I did the research today, D.
Okay.
And I studied it. I listened to commentators, and I studied it again.
Okay.
Here's the reason why I think the Falcons would win this game going away tomorrow night.
Okay.
First and foremost, what the Falcons did not do in preseason is what they are aimed to do tomorrow night, or at least try to do it. What that means, they're going to highlight the main two guys that they held out. For the first time in the last 4 or 5 years, Julio Jones is coming into the first game 100%. For the first time opposed to last year, and in the game last year against this same team, Freeman is healthy. Let's keep in mind, now we learned in the offseason, Freeman was not healthy in the last game that we played him. Remember, this team is the same team we played in our last game last year.
Remind everybody who Philadelphia is, or where they stand. Because some people out there listening to this show, they know the Falcons are in Philadelphia, but remind them last year what Philadelphia ended up doing last year.
Well, Philadelphia won the Super Bowl last year.
Okay.
They did something that many thought they would do, and many they surprised even themselves, and felt they can do it. But let's keep in mind that was last year. Let's look at them this year. Last year, everybody, the Philadelphia Eagles wasn't expected to win. Last year, everybody, the Philadelphia Eagles surprised not only themselves, they got better as the season went on, and they won the Super Bowl. Now, guys, everybody, now they're expected to win. Their target is on them now. Tomorrow night's game, they're missing 2 out of their 4 top receivers. 2 of them. They still have that tight end who played very well, number 87. I don't remember his name, but he will be there. But 2 out of their 4 receivers will not be there. They only have 1 receiver that'll be there that they can count on tomorrow night. Remember last year, everybody, they had these 2 running backs. They had the 2 running backs, the former running back from New Orleans and the guy they picked up middle of the year from Miami, Jair. Jair, I read today and heard either one of those guys are not going to be. They only have 1 running back. And he didn't have a good off season. Here's another thing they're missing. They're missing 2 offensive linemen. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, they're missing 5 starters that were there last year on both sides of the ball. Will not be there tomorrow night. I listened to a news conference today of the head coach. The head coach did not sound very confident. The head coach stood up to everybody as though he was being a little thrown and upset and flippant about why the question was coming his way, about this and about that and about this and about that. I think the Falcons, if this game go the way I believe it is, will go, ladies and gentlemen, I think this thing will get real ugly for Philadelphia tomorrow night.
Oh, okay.
I'm even throwing out a score. A rough score, ladies and gentlemen. Now I know I don't do this, but I just feel so good about it.
Oh man.
I'm looking at something like 39-24 Falcons tomorrow night.
39-24.
Yes, indeed.
You heard it, folks.
Yes, indeed.
Now,
and it may not even get.
Let me remind the listeners.
It may not even get higher as 24 because you better look at this. We moved Vic Beasley back to his natural position. Remember, last year Vic Beasley did not play outside defensive end. Remember the year before, the Super Bowl year, Vic Beasley had 15 sacks, individual sacks. Number 1 pick Pro Bowler. Last year, we moved into outside linebacker. Clearly looked out of position. The Falcons defense last year were number 5 in the league. The 5th best defense in the league. And let me say this last year, ladies and gentlemen. If you remember the game we played the Falcons last year, played the Philadelphia Eagles last year, with all of what they had, all of what they had did in the regular season and into the playoffs, we had these guys, we lost these guys 15-12. Came down to 1 play we could have beat them, and just a drop ball. Falcons offensive receivers had more drops than anybody in the NFL. Julio Jones alone dropped 9 balls last year.
Well, and I can agree with you on a lot of what you're saying there. But if you ask me, I don't know and pick games either. But if you want to pick, I'll go along with you and give you a prediction. But I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a close ball game. I don't see it being a blowout ball game because I know both teams are well good teams. I'm just concerned about our offense generating points, even though we got Julio Jones on the offense. Again, the reason I'll tell you why is I just, from what I've seen in the preseason ball game, when I look at a game, I look at a lot of things. I look at coaches on the sideline. I look at players, not just their performance, but I look at stuff that should change from the first preseason game to the last preseason game, which is actually the third preseason game. And that last preseason game, I really broke it down, and I watched stuff. Don't get me wrong, I listened to some of the other talk shows and listen to people talk because maybe they saw something that I missed. But basically, they sound a little bit like myself. Falcons have not had a lot of good luck over Philadelphia in the last few years. We've been to Philly, and I think they lost for the last 4 or 5 years, if I'm not correct.
Yeah, we played them in the playoff last year, and we played them the year before, and they beat us. They beat us the last 2 times. But they did not beat us in a way that I have a concern about us not being able to beat them.
Keep in mind another thing. This is a Thursday night game. This is prime time. Number 1 is prime time. Number 2, it's the first game of the season. Everybody's watching. Number 3, it's usually the game that teams make a lot of mistakes because they're just getting back into the groove again. And putting the Atlanta Falcons on the road, so that to me that was that. If this was a home game, I'd probably give the Falcons a win. But being a close ball game.
What history has shown that it's going to be a celebratory night for the Eagles.
Yeah.
They're going to raise their Super Bowl banner. The guys are going to have celebration and this, that, and the other. Statistics have shown that most teams that have that type of ceremony before a game, that big game, does not play well. I'm not saying the Philadelphia Eagles won't be good this year. I just don't believe tomorrow night you're going to get a clear sample of what the Philadelphia Eagles are going to be about
what
this year.
I just said that, it's the first game of the season, and most teams don't come out being the best. It's not like playing the third or the fifth ball game of the season. So they might be a little rusty as well. Yeah.
They hold it out some of their guys. Even this guy, they said that even in their preseason, they had a horrible preseason. I think they won on the one game. And a lot of the, oh my goodness, I could just name so many. Now, having said all that, the Falcons still can go out and lose the game.
Yeah.
The Vegas, before the season started, way back in the summer, Vegas had the Philly winning the game by 5. The point spread was 5 points. As of today, ladies and gentlemen, the point spread is 2 points.
It's 4 points. I'm looking at it now online.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's basically saying it's a tie ball game. It's pretty much. If you, I heard somewhere.
Well, that's why I said it'll be a close ball game. I don't think it'll be a blowout.
I heard somewhere 2. I saw somewhere 2.5. I didn't see 4. You said 4. I still think if the favors are such that they are, with what you and many and I won't say many believe. The few fans I've spoken to believe that Atlanta will lose this game. They're not putting a big weight on the loss, but the odds are favored that they should be more favored than they are. They're the Super Bowl champ. I think a lot of people are caught up in they beat the champ. They beat the greatest guys ever in the game, the New England Patriots. And wow, look at what they had doing it. I submit to everyone, they do not have what they had last year in this first game. I really don't think you're going to get what they are going to be this year in this first game. I see this could easily be a blowout game for the Falcons. I really believe that.
I guess we don't have long to wait. Like you said, less than 24 hours away. This game be played be played in Philadelphia. That is a 8:20 kickoff.
8:20 tip-off.
Yeah, in Philadelphia. I can't think of the name of the field there. Lincoln Field.
Here's what I will also add, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not get overconfident, fans, when the Falcons perform very well tomorrow night. Let's not get overconfident because it may be just that first game. You're right. That first game most times is a very sloppy game. It can go either way. This is why I believe Julio Jones and Freeman is going to have a great game. We'll have great games tomorrow night because they have a played off year. The energy level that they're going to bring, the burst that they're going to have coming off the line, is not all just about offense, even on the defense. I think the Falcons have so much energy, so much they need to bring to this, they will bring to this game. It will be literally overwhelming for Philly. And I think early on, if it's not close, Philly will throw the towel in and say, listen, let's get prepared as this season goes on. I really believe that. I have no doubt in my mind that Atlanta will win this game tomorrow night.
Yeah, okay. Well, we're going to move on from that. I mean, we got a whole schedule to talk about real quick here. But you said Philly will win. I said the Falcons will lose in a close ball game. I mean, I'm thinking maybe by a field goal, not even a touchdown, maybe by a field goal because the reason I said before about being the first game of the season and all the other stuff going on. Because one thing to keep in mind, too, is the Falcons' first 3 ball games is going to be a definite test. And it's going to be, they got 2 division games coming up after Philadelphia. They got the Carolina Panthers, the first home game, and then they got New Orleans Saints. These ball games, all 3 of these ball games is very important, especially 2 division ball games. Like I said, the Philadelphia game, it can actually come back to haunt you later on if you make the playoffs or you just barely make the playoffs. It can determine who's going to end up with home field advantage. And we definitely don't want to go to Philadelphia in the middle of December when the weather's 13 degrees. So this is a very important game for the Falcons. It's almost a must win. They need to win it. What you saying, all the players, I haven't gotten it. Actually, today I didn't really get into any listen to anybody. I'm just going what I've learned all this week. But you see a lot of the players not going to start, not going to play, so that could affect the ball game. But I don't think no team wants to lose. I guess they feel like they don't need them to beat the Atlanta Falcons. But
they don't. And keep in mind that last year we played them, it was 7 degrees outside. This year, this time, obviously that won't be a problem.
Yeah.
I just see a great game. But let me add on the next two games.
Okay.
I see the Falcons beating Carolina, and I see the Falcons. You have the schedule in front of you.
I do.
Yes, I see the Falcons beating Carolina and New Orleans. I think both of those games, if I'm not mistaken, will be at home.
Absolutely.
And I see the Falcons. If the Falcons can get rolling in both of those division games, I don't mean barely win. A win is a win, doesn't matter how. But if they can get rolling and handle those two ball clubs, I'll see us on our way.
Yeah,
I see us on our way. I think I remember you agreeing that we will win those two games as well.
Absolutely. Against the Carolina Panthers, I believe we'll win that ball game. Most of the time we play the Carolina Panthers here at home. We usually we normally will win the ball game. I think the last time we lost was 3 years ago. It was the last game of the season. We was pretty much undefeated, and we didn't need the ball game, and they came back and won. Something similar to that. New Orleans Saints the same way, playing here. It's usually a little bit of home field advantage for us playing here at home. Of course, this is still NFL. Any team still can lose on any given day, whether at home or what. So we can't go into it taking it lightly. One thing that happened now, you're looking at 2 and 3 ball games down the road. There are going to be some injuries. What we need to look, what we be concerned about is where are the injuries going to be? I mean, with a key injury, with maybe one of our running backs or receiver or quarterback, that really can definitely make a difference in the ball game. But on a normal basis,
part of it, we don't want to bank on injuries.
No, we're not banking on injury. I'm just saying.
I don't let it affect. I think one of the things that the Falcons has, and I'm quite sure other teams have the same thing. They are too deep at each position. One thing that New Orleans did, I learned this in my research today. New Orleans have a black backup quarterback now. The same guy that was the starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings.
Teddy Bridgewater.
They have Teddy Bridgewater as a backup.
I heard that. That's going to be awesome.
I think that's a very smart move, because what they realize is that their quarterback, as good as he is, he's coming to the end. And I like Teddy Bridgewater under the tutelage of Sean Payton.
I totally agree with you, because Sean Payton turns people around. I mean, they like Drew Brees, but Drew Brees can actually make things happen. But I think a lot of that stuff Drew Brees is doing, it came straight from Sean Payton.
Yeah. So that's and you know what else I learned today in my listening? The New Orleans Saints are picked to play very well this season. They are in fact, most predictors pick New Orleans to win the division. They pick New Orleans to win the South. I hope that's not the case, but New Orleans is expected to be very good this year. I think they're the starting running back who came from Georgia. I just remember this guy's name has a dreadlock. His name slipped me now. I think if I'm not mistaken, he is scheduled to miss the first 3 games.
Alvin Kamara. No, that's not Kamara. You're talking about the other guy from Alabama. He's predicted to miss the first 3 ball games. I think Kamara's still going to be there.
Or is it the guy that's been there for a while?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I got it mixed up. Well, that game again is going to be a huge game. That's, to me, even though it's the 3rd game in, and you can't put too much on 3 games in, I often believe that you can't tell the identity of what that team is probably going to be like that year until after the 5th game. But I picked that 3rd game that we will win, but if we lose it, it is going to be potentially a critical loss.
Yes.
It could be a critical loss.
Let me
for us.
Go ahead, finish. Go finish.
Yeah, it could be a critical loss for us, even though it's only the 3rd game.
Let me say this. One of my main concern, I'm going to say this now, and as the season floats on, what I see, and I hope that I hope it's not what it appear. But from watching the coach breaking the film down, that's what I do. Looking at the film, running it back, looking at it, and also being at the practice or being at the game, I like to sit and watch what the coach is doing, what the players doing on the sideline. The offensive coaching staff, or offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, looks a little confused. And for me, when the coaches are not ready, getting the plays in or running the right plays at the right time, I'm hoping it was a preseason ball game, and they didn't want to show us anything. and they would, because a lot of time if I can sit in my living room couch, or I can be at the stadium at the ball game, and I can pretty much know what the next play going to be, what do you think the opponent can do? So I'm hoping I'm wrong on that. I'm hoping I'm wrong on that.
Let me give you a little relief here on that. I think one of the reasons that Greg Knapp was brought in here was to helping Sarkisian in game planning, play calling, and in the red zone, which is the same as a play caller. I saw something in preseason that I had not seen at all last year. And in fact, listening to your analysis oftentimes over the years, I saw the Falcons have a pad where Sarkisian and Matt Ryan were sitting beside each other, going over plays or going over something after each time he came out. I really was impressed by that based on the fact that I didn't see that in the past. I don't know if he's going to be on the sideline this year or whether he'll be in the booth or whether they'll use the pad. But that question or concern you have about looking confused, I just think in the second year of this man's tenure, he will be a lot better. Matt Ryan would know much more.
I hope so.
He would do a lot better.
And what you just said, I really love to see Matt Ryan on the sideline talking to the coach and not just standing up with the helmet in his hand looking on the field after he went 3 and out. I mean, that really burns my back, when I look out on the field.
Yeah, they literally sat down beside each other, and they were going over. A lot of times, when a guy first come out, if they didn't have a good series, there usually be some discussion, if not with the coach, with the receivers, or with somebody or something. But the thing I saw, again, was them sitting down going over plays and so forth, what I didn't see in the past. But I just think the Falcons will be much, much better this year. That's why I said in an earlier show that I didn't think the Falcons would beat the Cincinnati Reds. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but I'm remembering
Bengals.
The schedule. I think the fourth game for the Falcons is the Cincinnati Bengals.
Right.
I had picked them to lose that game, and I based it on the Falcons not being able to win 3 games in a row at home. I think that game's at home. Am I correct?
Yes, here in here in Atlanta. Yes, it is.
I am picking the Falcons to win that game. I'm picking the Falcons to win that game, and what's going to be so crunk about that win is that the fans are going to really be on board, seeing what they like, and expecting what they believe could happen. The Falcons at that point, ladies and gentlemen, will be 4-0.
Well, regardless of what you saw on Hard Knocks, I believe the Falcons will win this ball game. It's 4 games, and the way you're looking at it is 4 games in a row. I'm looking at it as 3 games in a row. So I think by this time, again, depending on injuries, we should win this ball game at home. But then again, it's go back to what we always say. What do we always say about the Falcons? They're gonna win when they're supposed to lose and lose when they're supposed to win. Sometimes a team that you can almost say that they're gonna win this game, that's when they'll lose. And I promise you, we'll come back on the air again, and I'll recap this game the week before. And I can tell you,
could very well be.
Yeah.
Being at home 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
The crowd is expected. The Falcons. I don't say the Falcons will. I think Dan Quinn does an excellent job in having his team prepared.
Right.
But there's a tendency when you've been at home for almost a month, and because coming off that Thursday night, they're going to have an extended, basically a 10-day rest period in there after that Philadelphia game.
Right.
So here you now talking about in an indirect way, you can say the Falcons will be in their own beds for a whole month.
Yeah, right.
And so there's a tendency for you to become reading the press. You start getting relaxed. You start, you really, and hopefully, even if we are injured with we have some key injuries, we still got enough time to make them up and play still good ball. I got to pick us to be 4-0 in that.
Well, the one concern I do have about this ball game, in most cases, I have this same concern. It depends on who they're playing afterwards, who they're playing next. If it's a team that they feel real strongly that that's not going to give them a lot of trouble. I mean, they don't overlook anybody, but coming up, the next game, number 5, is against Pittsburgh Steelers.
And
sometimes teams tend to kind of look, maybe if not the coaches, but the players, they'll always look ahead and look at the team they got coming up, and they got to go on the road and all that kind of stuff. So sometimes it could cause them to lose a game.
Look ahead.
You
You look past a team. You're now 3-0. You play real good in 3 games. You leading the division. Obviously, they be leading the division unless Tampa have won every game. They will only be tied for the division. But if that could be it leading their division, and now you start to look past Cincinnati. They don't have a big-time quarterback. They got a Carson Wentz, some guy that's an average quarterback. But I picked the Falcons to lose that Pittsburgh game.
Well, I'm looking at your paper here. Maybe you changed it, but I'm gonna make a correction on it. I think you actually had it as a win before, but I'm looking at your sheet in mine. But I'm gonna change that on the sheet.
No, I picked the Cincinnati game as a loss. Yeah, I did pick them to lose the Pittsburgh game. But let's count the last record. I want to make the record. This is the official record on this time. Around here we are one night before, a couple hours before. This is my official call. I'm picking them to lose the Pittsburgh game, and I am picking them to be at that loss. After that loss, I would predict that the Falcons will be 4-1.
Okay.
And we agree that will be a loss in Three Rivers.
Yep. That'll be a loss in Three Rivers because they got a new quarterback and some things going on. But right now, for time's sake, so I'm not going to get in detail on that. But I believe it to be. I believe it'll be a loss because it's a road game.
Let me add this as a nugget. The running back, the Steelers offense has always been centered around the run game. Roethlisberger is an old quarterback. Roethlisberger could be injured by that time.
Right.
They running back Davion Bell is a holdout so far, and if they don't have him,
he'll be back. We know he's going to be back. I mean, a lot of players hold out for money, and a lot of time, by the time the season starts, they're back on the team.
The talk of the day was, if he isn't back after this first game or second game, they put him on the trading block. Okay. They moving on away from him because they have been impressed. They are saying that because they have been overly impressed with this backup running back, this kid that they've been running the ball in the preseason.
Right.
He did a very good job. And their offensive line is very healthy, as they always are. We'll see. What's the next game after the Pittsburgh game?
We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, game number 6. It will be at Mercedes-Benz.
It will be at the Benz. Oh, okay. It's great that we're playing a lot of
Sunday
game. Playing a lot of home games early, and I'm glad that we're playing these home games with tough teams, especially within our division. I picked the Falcons to win that game.
Absolutely. I think we mostly did that on that one there. Jameis Winston will be back. He's on suspension. I think he has a 4 or 5 game suspension. How many games? Do you recall how many games suspension he has?
It was 4 games. It was 4 games. It was 4 games. It was a 3-game suspension, I heard.
Okay, 3 games. Okay.
3 games and a 4th game. So he'll be back. But I hate to say this, and because that theory that you gave holds true. This could be one of them games, D, where the Falcons are supposed to win and lose.
No, I tend to agree with you on that because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers
could be one of them games.
Hey, this ain't the first time the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have slipped up in here and beat the Falcons on a game that they thought they were going to win, and especially after coming off of a big game against Pittsburgh. Now, those guys put the wood on you up there in Philadelphia. I mean, in Pittsburgh.
It could be, but here's why I say it could be with so much emphasis. I'm looking at the Falcon team this year, D, that they are going to be so focused on getting to that Super Bowl and so focused on winning. You know, when a team start to win a lot of games and they be just one. I see the Falcons is not. Oh my goodness! I really feel the Falcons is going to be one of these 12-4, 13-3, 14-2 types.
Well, you call it big time. If you see 13-3, call it. Don't wave around. Hey, stand by your word.
If we can stay healthy across that offensive line, we can stay healthy with key guys on the offensive side of the ball, and if we can stay healthy with key guys on the defense side of the ball, D, I don't see no way that the Falcons should not do what I said. I stand by my 12-4. But don't be surprised if you see the Falcons go 13-3 or 14-2. I see the Falcons doing what the Philadelphia Eagles did last year.
Okay. The game number 7 is going to be New York. There's a lot of home games. I'm thinking it says.
That's a home game?
I'm looking at the schedule right there. Mercedes-Benz. Yeah, Mercedes-Benz.
Hey, another win. And I love it. See, here's what I love about this home thing.
Keep in mind, this is a Monday night game. It's a primetime game. 8:15
that's
ball
an
game.
easy win. That's a win going away. Here's what I love about these home games. These are tough teams that we're playing early on. But by being at home, see, one of the things that the NFL is doing, clearly what they're doing here, they're showcasing this Super Bowl location.
Uh-huh.
The roof's going to be open. And, they pick those games and say, yeah, we want it in the fall with a nice weather. This is where the Super Bowl going to be played. And here's why it's a benefit for the Falcons. Because you get on a roll. See, when you start looking at, okay, here we are now. We at 6-1. The only loss I picked in these, we done beat Tampa. Everybody else in the first game we called. We are really with New York. We're talking 7-1. Am I right? That's a 7-1. Now you said be 5 and I think that's 8 games, isn't it?
I had 2 losses within it. I had the Philadelphia and the Pittsburgh.
How many games are we at?
Number 7. That's 7 game. The 7 game.
Okay, so you said I'm saying we 6-1. You saying we 5-2. Both of those records still are good for a team that's on their way.
Uh-huh.
There ain't no reason, D, that we shouldn't be either 5-2 or 6-1. We playing home games with the crowd that's propped up in prime time games with a new stadium that's going to be the host for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, man! And here's what history has shown us. Why I believe so much about tomorrow night. The Falcons have shown over the last couple of years they play well in prime time games.
Yeah. Yeah.
They play very well.
Especially
they have shown that this is a very good ball club, ladies and gentlemen. Get on board. Get off the tank. Get off the sideline. Jump on this wagon, man. This team, after 8 games, after 7 games, they are 6-1 or either 5-2.
There you go.
Let's go to the 8th. Let's go to the 8th game. Who would that?
Number 8, we finally get on the road again. We go to Washington D.C. That's a Sunday afternoon game at 1:00. That's the Washington Redskins.
I like us in that game. Although that's going to be a difficult game. It's going to be a difficult game because of where we are now. Could be injury-wise. I don't know where the bye week come in here yet. You'll be able to tell that with the schedule. Mm-hmm. It would be great to have had a bye week. When is the bye week for the Falcons?
After looking at the schedule, I don't see a bye week, and I guess I have to look for the week that's off. I don't see it right now. The New York game is October 22nd and November the 4th. Is that a week? That's
a bye week. That's a bye week. Okay. October 22nd and New York, because you got 7 days from the 22nd. Will be the 31st.
Right. Okay.
And so we know. So we in that bye. So we coming off a bye week going into Washington. I like us in that game. Number one reason why I like us is because we on a roll. We're a good team, and Washington does not have a legitimate quarterback. Washington traded their quarterback to the Minnesota Vikings.
Right.
Kirk Cousins.
Right.
And I just see a team in the rebuilding mode that we can beat. So I'm talking 8-1 at this point.
Right. Okay. Week 9, Cincinnati, not the Bengals, but Cleveland Browns.
Oh, and we both agree that's a win.
And that'll be on the road. We'll be on the road.
Easy win.
Okay. We're gonna jump on down. Now where we start getting into a little bit of heat. This is one I have a little concern right here. Sunday, November the 18th, Mercedes-Benz, Dallas Cowboys. America's team.
Very, very difficult game for us. It
wasn't difficult last year. But then again, you got to keep in mind Zeke didn't play last year either.
But last year, they did not have their starting running back.
Right.
And I remember in that game, we had an enormous amount of sacks. We almost broke a record.
We did break a record.
In that game
we did,
for sacking back. I'm not fearful of the Cowboys. Cowboys are weak defensively. The Cowboys does not have a passing threat. They don't have the wide receiver who was old and could not, run the routes. And then Jason Witten, their best tight end, he's now a Monday Night Football commentator. So Dallas is not a threat. Dallas will make a lot of noise with their running game, but I think the Falcons can win that game.
Okay, I agree with you on that. I think the Falcons will win that ball game. I think it's going to be a good ball game, though. I don't think it'll be a runaway game. I think it'll be a game that probably won by a touchdown or a field goal. I think it's going to be a really good game. I think Dallas is a good team, and also we got to look at where Dallas is going to be at this time of the season. This is another team that I see us playing that could determine if you win or loss. Could determine if we make a playoff spot or where we fall in the playoffs, because I think it's going to be. I don't think we're going to run away and just blow out the division and win the division. We could, but if not, then we got to depend on some of these teams that we played in the early season, like Philadelphia and Dallas, to maybe lock a spot in on a home field event. Because I'd much rather play here at home during the playoffs than they go on the road, because we have a pretty good home record when it comes to the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's why every win, like in any NFL team, and always have been that way, every win is a big win. Every loss could be a big loss. I like us in that game. I like us at home. Most of the time, I think we do have a home field, a dome field advantage, if you will. The fans really
we don't have a dome anymore.
Well, we have a stadium. We have a stadium that ignites this team.
Mm-hmm.
If that stadium, that ability that we play in there, the lights look good, everything is fresh. I'm very excited when we play at home.
Let me just say this also. I observed. I was downtown and picked up my credentials the other day, and I was noticing how well everything looked. And man, I'm telling you, where the Dome Stadium was built, they are really laying that thing out really nice, and Arthur Blank and Rich McKay and all those guys are putting some money out there, man. They got tailgating area. I heard Arthur say they were thinking about. No, they wasn't thinking about it. They could have put a hotel there, but they wanted to create an atmosphere for the fans. The fans to have a good time, and I think that's great. A lot of teams wouldn't do what our owner does. I take my hat off to Arthur Blank. Ever since he's been here, he's been continuing to create more parking spaces and tailgate area and fan base. Yes. And did you also hear that?
He made it fan friendly all the way around.
And did you also hear they sit down and I think it was last week, they dropped the prices again. I mean, other states around the country can't believe what's happening.
Yes. And the concession. I heard about that. And he took this area, where they could have made it more conducive to corporate.
Yes.
That they took that area near the field, near the stadium, and made it out of a park called Friendship Park.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's an area that's designed strictly for the tailgating, and when the Falcons are not playing, it's area where the fans can migrate. It is just a great site down there, and that's why the NFL is so excited about where that Super Bowl is going to be at this year.
And again, I take my hat off to the owner, our owner, Arthur Blank, because I think we have one of the best owners in the NFL. I saw Arthur Blank one day as he was walking out the dome, and I walked up to him. I said, just thank you for coming to Atlanta and buying this team, and because you made it for a lot of fans, because everybody can't afford a ticket, and everybody don't go to the ball game. So, I mean, if you can always go out and tailgate, pay $10, $15, $20, because I know, let me also say this, I know years ago before I started going to the game, you can go out, you can come downtown, you're talking about fan friendly, you can come downtown as an adult with a $20 bill and be able to join somebody's tailgate. I mean, they'll like, hey, look, you pay all you can eat, all you can drink, and they got music and they got all kinds of things going on, and that's at most tailgates. I mean, so if you don't go to the ball games, yes, the fan atmosphere is you can't describe it. You can watch it on TV, but I used to say the first thing I get when I go downtown, when you walk out, I used to catch a train to the games. And as soon as we get off the train, the first thing you smell the food. You smell all the food that's cooking. You hear the music. The smoke is in the air. It's just an awesome atmosphere. And I think that's one thing that Arthur Blank and his crew was saying that they wanted to happen at the new park for the fans. You got to bring smoke. If you're going to be in this area, they got an area you can drive in. They got an area that you can actually just like a park area that you can actually cook out and stuff. But you got to make smoke.
Yeah.
And I think they went out and picked certain groups of tailgaters that's been coming for
indeed.
years and give them the first option to come out there and cook out. So it's going to be exciting, man. I'm excited about that.
And this is why I would say it's an advantage for the Falcons on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And they still got to come out and play. But, and the fans, one of the things I've heard of Ike say this, when he went to the New Orleans stadium this past season, he said one of the things, Atlanta get ripped a little bit, the fans get ripped because they show up late and they're not in the seats and not as loud, so forth and so on. But one of the things that Arthur Blank and his group did, they gave the fans, as Ike said, they gave the fans too much.
Hey, hold on. I lost you there for a second. Go back again. I lost you there for 1 second.
I said, when Ike went to New Orleans, he said one of the things that they compared New Orleans to Atlanta Stadium, the Mercedes being in New Orleans. Well, New Orleans that stadium doesn't have as much to offer as the Atlanta Stadium. When you go to the Atlanta Stadium, it's almost like going to a museum. It's just so much that you didn't see the last time that you see when you go again. Every time I go there, I see something I didn't see before.
Yeah.
It has a lot to offer, man. It's just so much there. And Atlanta fans has been accused of getting there late and not being.
Well, I don't think a lot of time is just being late. I think a lot of time when you go in there, you're so amazed with so much stuff going on. A lot of people don't get in their seats because they're still walking around. I mean, you got a giant stream, and you got the 100-yard club, and all these different places out there.
Oh,
a lot of time, it's just so much to do. Even outside, and that's why even Phillips Arena was now it's called what is this? Our basketball arena.
It's called State Farm Arena
now.
And
They remodeled.
It's amazing. It's amazing what I saw online of how they redid it and made it fan friendly. What Arthur Blank has done with that Georgia Mercedes-Benz. He has just opened the world up to a different experience when it comes to
and other stadiums are following suit because he's setting the standard of how things should be done, especially with the food prices. And what is it? They went down on the hot dog or something like that again?
Yeah, they went down on the concessions. They went down on the concessions. They gave it now. And they even went down on the mixed drink.
And I think Rich McKay was saying that they sold more food in one quarter than they did in the whole ball game. So, I mean, that just shows how well it does. And it makes sense because we all go to the ball game. And I know myself, when I take my kids something, we'll stop by chicken place and get some chicken or whatever we want to get and eat and get to the game and say, look, we ain't buying nothing just, because the food's so hot. So now it's easy to take your family in there and enjoy yourself and get some good food. So.
Yes, indeed. And that soccer has just transformed that whole area down there, man. On game day at the soccer, I love it when they block off all the streets around there. I didn't go to the end of the soccer game, but I had the opportunity to go downtown to one of the games and was walking around there. They block off all the streets. It's just like it ain't nothing but a straight park all the way down in there around the stadium. All the streets, people are walking in the middle of the street. It's just like, oh my goodness, it's like Mardi Gras down there, D.
Huh.
You would be amazed at the soccer. And these folks are crunk. Oh my goodness, Falcon fan hasn't come close yet to the excitement that the soccer fans bring.
It's big. It's big. They were talking about how many millions of people that came to the stadium this year. You got to keep in mind early this last month alone, you had the Taylor Swift concert, you had the Beyonce concert, you had the soccer, you had the Falcons game. It's really been
this past weekend. They had Auburn down there. Against Washington.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Wisconsin.
Right.
That's almost like Auburn's. That's Auburn's home field advantage. Auburn. Yeah. Oh man, I was watching that game. An exciting game, man. That game was exciting. I know we sort of drift off the NFL, but we just so caught up as fans with our city, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, we so caught up with the team and what Atlanta is all about. You gotta love it. If you don't,
And we're not just talking. We go to the games and we're there. We're sitting in the stand. We're on the field. Whatever. We are enjoying it. I mean, just going downtown, like I was saying before. The way Arthur Blank has created a fan base of tailgate areas to tailgate and hang out and do what you got to do. So don't necessarily have to, like I said, you don't have to go to a club. You can always go downstairs. Like for example, a lot of people won't get a chance to go to the Super Bowl, but the NFL experience and all the events going on around the stadium, just being in the atmosphere, it means so much, and you just being a part of it. You can always look back and say, "Hey, I was at this Super Bowl."
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And if the weather hold up, like we hope it will, it has a chance to be good. We talking about a great and exciting Super Bowl just sitting on our stadium, just sitting on our city, man.
Yeah.
And what will top it off, ladies and gentlemen? Oh my God! If our team, the Atlanta Falcons, are there.
Tell me about
Woo!
it, man. Hey,
oh my goodness!
That would turn this schedule. That would turn this city upside down. Hey, your friends down in New Orleans. Hey,
tears of joy come overwhelming me.
Your friends down in New Orleans wouldn't know what to say, man, if the Atlanta Falcons hosted the Super Bowl at their home field. But I ain't even gonna say it. Anyway, let's just keep going. We don't want it to be the opposite, but let's keep going with this schedule. We said. Did I say? Oh yeah. After the Cowboys, you said that was a win or loss.
A win.
A win. I agree with you. That'd be a win, but I think it's gonna be a close ball game. The next ball game, a big ball game for the Falcons, is gonna be in New Orleans, Louisiana, at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, Thursday, November the 24th, Thanksgiving Day.
We both. I know we both agree that's a loss.
That's a loss. I must be looking at Eric's schedule because I got a win down here for some. I'm trying to look at your schedule. I'm trying to look at his. So far, Eric, you only got 2 losses so far. I'm looking at
2 losses.
You only got 2 losses so far. So
I'm going 12-4, man.
All right, Green Bay.
I'm going 12-4.
I'm sorry, I clicked it wrong. No, not Green Bay. Not Green Bay. The Ravens, Baltimore Ravens.
That's a win.
That is in Baltimore. You sure?
Yeah, that's a win. That's a win.
No, that's here. I'm sorry, that's here.
Yeah, that's a win.
Baltimore's
that's a win.
good.
I don't care where we play them at. That's a win. They're banged up ball club. Still, I won't be surprised by the time we play them that Flacco won't even be starting. That the kid will be starting because they'll be looking to next year to get him acclimated with the kid in the person of Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson looks pretty good. Like he needs this first year to get his rhythm down and see what happens.
Yeah.
But after Baltimore, we got game number 13. We got the Green Bay Packers going to be in Lambeau Field.
Lambeau Field is cold at that time.
That's up there, your home territory, isn't it? Up there by Wisconsin.
That's a loss.
That's a loss. Why do you think it's a loss?
Well, I just think it's difficult to play outside in that type of weather condition. And even if the Falcons are on a roll, and I believe there will be, where they trying to say we want to have the best record in the league, or we want to continue to win for as momentum is concerned. I still think under that conditions of real cold outside, the only chance I would give the Falcons in winning that game is if Aaron Rodgers is not playing. And I still give them a pretty good chance because that coach they have is a very good offensive coach. He's an offensive coordinator, head coach. He reminds me so much of Sean Payton with the clipboard. He's very detailed in offensive play calling. I just think the Falcons have a very slim chance of winning that game.
Okay, all right. I would tend to agree with you. I think there'll be a loss. One of the main reasons is going to Green Bay that time of year. Even though we won the last I know it's 3 ball games. I think they were all played here, but we won beat them the last 3 ball games. But I think they're in for some revenge. Aaron Rodgers is back, and also Jimmy Graham, formerly New Orleans player. He's looking pretty good with the with Green Bay in the preseason. So I think he'll be a standout, giving Aaron Rodgers another target.
Let me interject this. He didn't do as well as people thought he would with Russell Wilson. I think Jimmy Graham is pretty much done.
I don't think he's done. I think you're going to see a lot of him this year. It just depends on the quarterback. Russell is more of a scramble run quarterback. I mean, Aaron Rodgers can hit anything. Aaron Rodgers can scramble to stop and hit you on the dime. I mean, we know that from last year because by knocking out what team they knocked out because it was Dallas.
That was the year we went to the Super Bowl. and he hit Jordy Nelson. But anyway, we both agree that's a loss. What's the next one?
Cardinals, Arizona Cardinals. That's going to be
Arizona Cardinals. Oh, that's a tough one. And that game is being played where?
at Mercedes-Benz.
I give us that win. Give us that win. I highlight that because if that game was played in St. Louis, in Arizona, I would have given us a loss in that game.
Yeah.
Arizona has a very good defense.
Yeah, they have a good defense.
And their defense is their strength. It will not be an easy game in that Georgia Dome. It could be a loss.
Uh-huh.
I still think we edge that game out.
Absolutely. I put it down as a win as well, but like I said, it could very easily be a loss. Next ball game is now we get to the end of the season. Game 15 is going to be the
Panthers.
Panthers.
Carolina
Panthers.
Up in Charlotte.
Yes.
I pick a loss on that one. Now, and now it could be. I still stand by the loss, but let me throw this in there as just a possibility. Depending on the need of that game, if Atlanta is on a mission where they need to win this game to get home field advantage throughout the playoff, or just a moral victory as well as getting that home field, I could see Atlanta definitely going in there with a purpose. But on the other hand, if Atlanta has already clinched their playoff spot, the game doesn't mean anything, win or loss.
Well, very, very rarely. Don't get me wrong. Now,
I can see Atlanta pulling their starters out to halftime.
Unless we go out and, like you said, if they win like you're saying they're going to win, they're going to only lost 2 games by this time or 3 games. Yeah,
no,
maybe so.
Games.
But it depends on what New Orleans does as well. But if this thing is close, this division close, which I do believe it'll be close going into to probably the last ball game of the season, determine who's going to win, because that means the last 2 ball games are division games.
You're right. You're exactly right.
I'm thinking this game will mean something to somebody. If New Orleans, they could beat New Orleans, and it could be up to us to win or whatever. So you got 2 games here.
But it's tough. But it's tough. I just think it's tough. Especially if Cam is still there. Playing. Obviously, he'll be on the team. But if he's playing well, they're a tough team. Rivalry game. They need this win as much as
right.
more than we do.
But what if it's one? What if it's a game that we need? We need.
Yeah. There's so many things that point to them needing to win, and we'll win. That's why I give us a loss.
Yeah.
I would say at that point that's the 4th loss, and whoever we play the last game doesn't matter. I think we'll be 12-4.
Tampa.
Who was the last?
Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, I didn't think about that. It's a situation again where I don't think it'll. Here's what I have to believe. At this point, we 11-4, or so 11-4. There is a possibility that we could still be in contention with who win that division. See, we could be in contention with who win that division. So the Falcons, I believe just based on they being better than Tampa, they'll win that game. But let's just say Tampa look at us as we can spoil you all's party. Say if Atlanta, it could be a tough situation for Atlanta. I still got to give Atlanta that game though. I still got to give us that game.
Okay. I'll give it a win. And right now you're looking at 11 and.
For me, I'm 12-4. I don't know where you are. I think you're pretty much either.
So you're going 12-4. That's what I saw.
12-4,
first.
and I think you said last time 11-5.
Yeah, 11-5.
And you said 11-5.
And actually, honestly, I'm actually looking at probably more than that. I picked 1, 2, 3. I got 4 loss. I got one I haven't really. When we were talking about the teams, I see it's another loss here somewhere, but I haven't really determined who it is.
You pick.
Well, I said 11-5, but I know. But as I called them out,
you picked the Philly loss. You picked the New Orleans loss. You picked the Carolina loss the second time. You picked the Green Bay loss.
That's what it was. The Carolina loss again. Okay.
And then you picked the.
I didn't pick the Carolina loss second time. I didn't pick that. I didn't pick the Carolina loss the second time around.
So you saying we go up there, we gonna beat them the first time in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. So what is your prediction when we go up there?
I think we'll beat them because like I said before, I believe these last 2 games of the season is going to be at least normally it's at least one, because when the brackets are being set up to making wild cards or whatever, or if you've already been picked to win the division, whatever. I think this game is going to be determined. This is going to be an important ball game. Sometimes the last ball game, it really doesn't matter that much. But the way I see our bracket going is either Atlanta or New Orleans being 1 or 2, and Carolina being number 3, and Tampa being number 4. So therefore, if New Orleans or Atlanta's in second place, these teams are battling. This game against Carolina is going to mean something to somebody. Either Carolina's going to be number 2, or either we or New Orleans will be number 2. So I think that's going to be a tough ball game. I think you said it's not going to be anything. Right. I think it's going to be a challenge. And also, and the team that has the home field advantage, I mean, it's not going. I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk, honestly.
Right.
But go ahead.
Right, you're exactly right. I agree with all that. And here's the thing: either way, 11-5, 12-4, we do agree that the Falcons will have a good season. The Falcons will be in the playoff, and depending on where we end up in the conference, this is why it's so important that we try to win, as every team try to do, every game, win every game, especially the conference game, because if we can end up having that first playoff game in the Mercedes-Benz, we have a very good chance of making it to the Super Bowl. Would you agree?
I totally agree. I mean, it's gonna be a tough road, but I think with the Atlanta Falcons, we can do it. We can win, but. It's a long way to go, man. It's hard to say what's going to happen. Like I said, firm. You've already said you're 11-5.
Oh, I'm 12-4.
12-4.
I'm picking us to go 12-4 and being in the Super Bowl. I'm going to pick us to go 12-4. I don't know where we're going to end up in the conference. Even I would not feel good if we ended up a wild card.
Well, again, one thing we can't see, not only with our teams, but with the teams that are in our division, those injuries are going to will make things change, to make our numbers change, and I mean, those, like I said, against I think it all starts here tomorrow night with Philadelphia. I think it sets a.
And let me interject this, D. That wild card, what I just said about not being wild card, yes, that would get us in, because it would be a total failure if we don't make the playoff period. I think that wild card is important not to be there, because you don't want to enter the playoff having to win 3 games on the road.
On the road, exactly.
To get to the Super Bowl. That's where we were last year. We beat the Rams in California. Then we had to leave Cali and went to Philly, and we lost that game in Philly. I think if we can get that one first game at home, at some game in that Georgia, in that Mercedes-Benz, we on our way, ladies and gentlemen. We are on our way.
Well, and that's why it's so important. Like I said, that first 3 ball game, like you said, the first 3 ball game, that New Orleans game. Going back to this real quickly, so the first game against Philadelphia can determine how we're set in the playoffs. And the third game against New Orleans Saints can determine, because I believe, like I said a minute ago, that between us and New Orleans, I think we'll top the division. Who's going to be in first, who's going to be in second, we don't know. But that first game against New Orleans is very important, because like you said, you and I both said, going to New Orleans on New Year's Day going to be very hard for the Falcons to win.
Yes.
All right, folks. Okay, it's been a long night, and we're going to wrap this thing up a little bit here in big time. Anything you want to say? Give you the opportunity to close the show out.
I just, as I've said repetitively, it's a great time for a great time of the year. It's a great time in Atlanta. It's great for the Falcons, and I cannot wait.
You cannot wait, buddy. Like you said before, it's less than 24 hours. Well, folks, I'm gonna close this thing out here. Like I said, this is the Micah's High. Like I say, I'm D, and that's big time. And hey, we love talking to you. To our folks out there, the Falcons, the NFL is catching the show. Hey, one thing I want to say about big time, I want to give him this props. I think I forgot to say earlier. Every year for the last 5 years, I know, or maybe longer than that, this cat has been one plus or minus on his prediction. So if you guys are putting money on games, you might want to listen to what Big Time said. Not to say don't listen to me. I mean, I've been pretty close last year. I think we both had the same thing. We missed it by one game, or we were right on top of it last year.
I think we missed it by one game. We were both last. We went 11-5. The Falcons went 10-6. But we're close each time.
Right.
And
we're not just throwing numbers up in the air. We're looking at it from how we look at our team. We big time. I give him credit. He studies real hard and look at the team and see and take it to the lab and see what's going on. And also putting your head to the wall and listen to what people got to say and what the coach got to say. And I give credit sometimes to some of those other sportscasters out there, radio and TV, that's talking about that's got inside scoops and giving us some heads up and stuff that we didn't get a chance to look at. But before we go, we're both Atlanta Falcons fans. We're looking forward to tomorrow night, the Philadelphia Eagles. We're going to catch this thing back up next week. We're going to come back and recap this ball game and others as the season go on. Hey, look, I'm big time. I'm D. He's big time. We out of here. Welcome to Atlanta, where the players play.